Hi, I'm Al,
And I'm Russell,
and welcome to Popculture Pontification.
a show where we talk about movies, TV, games, anime, and whatever else takes our fancy. I left out comics that time. I'm not sure why. It doesn't matter.
You don't have to list everything.
It's included in whatever else takes our fancy.
Yeah, that's the subcategory of everything takes our fancy. Well, why don't you explain how this came to be?
This came to be because we both listened to too many podcasts, and then Alan said, let's have a podcast.
That's true. Well, you listen to way more podcasts than I do.
I don't know about that.
I honestly believe that that's all you do, is listen to podcasts.
Really?
Like, wait, every time you're not, like, with other people, what you
Every
do.
time I'm not with you.
Yeah,
when
when
you're
you're not
hanging out
with me.
with other people. We're just having podcast parties.
Just podcasts, that's it. 90% of the time, podcasts.
Yeah.
It's just every time we talk about podcasts, you're talking about a new one I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this weird Swahili podcast that I was listening to the other day. You know, talking about some odd stuff. Anyway, so...
Those guys were Scottish. They just had strong Scottish accents. They were talking English.
That's easily misunderstood. Yeah. So, we are based in Perth, Australia. Yeah?
Yes, I agree.
And so, we've been in the local sort of pop culture community for many years. We both helped run a convention here in Perth, Australia. You're looking very confused, so I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not sure that you can have a pop culture community. Like, isn't pop culture like everybody's culture?
Well, no, pop culture is a subset of everybody's culture.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be called pop culture. It's popular culture.
Yeah, it is
It's the
popular.
stuff that's popular.
Yeah.
There's lots
Popular
of stuff
means that most people like
There's lots of stuff that's not popular.
Well, yeah.
And it's not part of pop culture, then, is it?
Yeah, but like...
Having said that, really obscure like movies and stuff, it does fall into the category of pop culture, but that's not exactly popular.
No,
then,
and that's
is it?
like niche stuff.
It is, but it's still part of pop
Subculture.
culture, so it's a very
But
broad category.
my point is that, like, something like My Kitchen Rules is
It's a
part
stupid
of...
show.
It's
But,
part of pop culture, though.
Well, yeah, but I don't have to like every pop culture.
No, you don't. But you wouldn't say that, you know, random mum and dad who watch The Block
A part
are
of
part
pop
of
culture?
a pop culture community.
Well, no, I suppose not.
I'd still say that's...
I'm talking about more like the stereotypical pop culture community, which is like comic books and
Geeks.
geeks and nerds and
Other
weebs and
sort
stuff
of
like that.
riffraff.
Yeah,
Weebs.
weebs. Which we're
We've
allowed
got a
to say.
segment called, like, Weeb Watch.
We watch what? We just pick a weeb out of the community and
just,
follow
like,
them around.
victimize them.
We victimize them. Really give them what for.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, come on, mate.
You love Japanese stuff.
You nerd. But yeah, we both helped run a anime convention here in Perth and stuff like that. So we've got sort of a inside loop on the local scene, as it were.
Yes.
You know, so we decided to be wholly original and start a podcast about that. The name of which you're not a huge fan of.
Well, let's not make a big deal of it.
Well, subcategory, you couldn't think up a better name, so we
No.
stuck with the first one that I came up with.
Was it the first one you came up with?
Yeah.
So you only came up with one name.
Hey, when you hit a home run, mate, you don't ask him to call
You
it a
didn't
foul
even present
ball
any
and have another
alternatives.
go. Well, it's
You're
because
like-
I didn't need to.
I've been slavishly focus testing
I
these
am
names
currently
and
running at 100% hit rate with naming podcasts.
the one that the marketing people liked the best was Popculture Pontification.
Yeah, because it's easy to say, easy to remember, and easy to spell. So there you go. None of those things. It's none of them.
But
Anyway.
it does abbreviate to PCP, which I find amusing.
Well, where do you get... Oh, pop culture. I never even made that connection.
Really?
No.
Ah.
Well, every abbreviation I've come up with so far has been like, Pop On was my most favourite one. You can just pop on and have a listen, which you hated with a vengeance.
Well, it sounds like we're going to be, like, sipping tea and having cucumber sandwiches.
Which we might do.
Well, you never know.
Well, you never know. You never say never. Anyway, so we should start off with saying a little bit about who we are. You know, I feel like a bit of...
Was that not a bit about who we are?
Well, it's a bit about our history in the local community of nerds and people who live at their parents' house and stuff like that. It's not Offensive.
Yeah,
Not offensive at all.
Abusing our listener base here.
Well, wait, I'm coming in.
We love you, nerds.
I'm coming in strong. I've been a nerd for God knows how many years, so.
More years than you've been alive.
This is true, exactly, yes. God, what was like the first thing I remember watching that could be classified as nerdish?
Thundercats.
I never got Thundercats when I was a kid. No, because I lived in the country.
Yeah.
The first thing that I remember...
Nerdy sheepdog trials.
It's just like, what, sheepdogs in like big thick glasses and stuff like that?
And the other sheepdogs
like,
are like picking on them.
I was like herding sheep before it was cool. No. The first thing I remember as being like, looking back as being like geeky and nerdy was on SBS way back in the day.
Ah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What do we...
You mean
watched
those movies?
like the late night when my parents went around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No. Was Bubblegum Crisis.
Oh,
Tokyo
yeah,
2040.
yeah.
That was the first anime I ever watched.
Yeah, Bubblegum Crisis was the first one for me as well.
The first one or Tokyo 2040? Because there's two separate series.
I don't know. Whatever one was on SBS.
It's Tokyo 2040.
Yeah, that's the one.
I don't think they ever aired like the original, which is like
because that was way back in the day.
Like 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Was it?
Well, it could have been, but we went around to watch it.
That's true. So, which leads us into talking about who we are, I suppose. Because that references our age, which is like the best segue I think we're going to get.
It definitely is now that we...
Now that we've brought it up,
yeah.
and I've really shoehorned it in. So, we're both about 30 years old.
Yes, roughly.
Roughly. Almost for some.
Yeah.
Absolutely for others.
Yeah.
And we are white dudes.
The whitest dudes.
The whitest of dudes. Both pretty generic looking, both tall with like beards and stuff. I don't know how personal.
I really don't think you're selling us.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how much to give away here.
Yeah, I don't think we need to give away anything.
Maybe it's just like what we do give away will sort of come out naturally as we talk.
I think it should just be, I'm Alan and my favourite comic is blah. And I'm Russell and my favourite movie is blah.
Oh, you don't even mention comics, you fucking...
I don't have a favourite comic.
I
guess Watchmen's pretty good.
Have you read the comic?
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. That's something I didn't know about you.
And Conan the Barbarian comics, they're really good.
I've never read a Conan the Barbarian
Really?
comic. Does Conan in the comics look like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Well, he's a beefy dude.
Well, there's lots of beefy dudes.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of...
He doesn't look particularly like Arnie.
I really... Well, comic books came first.
Well, not these ones.
What did we both do? Come on, I'm trying to get you involved here. What did
I feel
we
like
both...
you're leading me somewhere.
I'm really leading the witness here, yeah. What did we do on the weekend?
Objection. You are leading me towards...
I'm leading you towards...
We both went to the first... We both went to the first Pixel Expo quiz night.
Correct, yes.
Which was at Carnegie's, which is a horrible venue.
I think, like, they were very overwhelmed. I think, like, the event location was just overwhelmed by the amount of people that were there.
Well, you would think that it would be alright, because it is a drinking venue in the middle of the town.
Well, yeah, but it was also Sunday night.
Yeah.
And there was, like, 100 people
Yeah.
in one tiny bar to be served at. You know, and, you know, how many people go to Carnegie's on, like, a Sunday night and ask for, like, 80 Parmesanas?
When an event has been booked with 100 people, you would expect that they would anticipate 100 people.
Yes, that's true. I'm just saying that besides the technical difficulties they ran, they were just overwhelmed. And they didn't prepare properly.
We're going to have to cut so much.
There's so much
Carnegie's
going to be cut.
bashing.
Hey, you know what was shit house? Carnegie. But
welcome to Popculture Pontification, the podcast where we rip into shitty venues.
Once a week, we pick a venue and we really just lay them out. Yeah. But the reason why I'm leading into this is because our table of 8 out of a possible 10, we took it away. We won. We won the prize. We won the tournament. We're the champions of... Reigning champions.
Reigning undefeated.
Undefeated, 100% win rate of every...
Pixel Quiz Night.
Pixel Quiz Night, yes.
That there has ever been or ever... Well, maybe not ever will be.
Probably not ever will be. But we got to go back and defend our title.
Yeah.
Now, so... That's probably at least like 6 months away.
Well, you'd expect it to be annual, right?
So I don't know. I don't know what they're planning. They could do one every month, as far as I know.
They could.
They
I
could.
probably wouldn't go.
Probably wouldn't. I suppose from here we should just jump into the news. Alright, let's just call it the news, and if necessarily we can later on record like a different intro.
When we come up with a
Better
staggeringly brilliant name for it.
Yes, sure. Alright, so a news volume of a comic book I read came out recently called Saga. So that's something people should look into reading because it's a really good comic book.
Well, what's it about?
It is.
Sell me on it, Alan.
I'm gonna paint you a word picture.
I'm going then.
Russell, which is the opposite of what it is, which is a picture with words, because it's comic.
Yeah.
You got it? You figured?
I'm following.
It's very deep and meaningful.
Yeah.
It is the continuing adventures of like these two lovers. It's sort of like a sci-fi fantasy cross sort of thing. That there is a planet and a moon, and the planet hosts these beings that look a lot like angels, and the moon hosts things that look a lot like demons, and they've been fighting for a long time. And eventually, a woman angel and a man demon hook up and have a kid, and it's all about like the governments of both worlds like trying to capture the kid because they need to like destroy it because they don't want any sort of crossing over of the cultures and all that sort of like that, and they're concerned about what it could do to like their propaganda and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's really good, and a new volume came out recently, and that I think is something that someone should read.
So it's basically Romeo and Juliet.
Sort of, kinda, except they never really had kids.
Well, no, they committed suicide.
That's true. So far, there's no suicide.
Right.
Between the parents of the child and all that sort of stuff. And it's like the child is sort of telling the story. You know, like, back in the day, my parents were blah, 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 blah.
Is he a kick-ass ninja warrior?
He is not, but he is a warrior. And he uses, like, swords and stuff. And he has magical spells and things like that.
Is there an old kung fu master who says, you have unlimited potential, or whatever?
Shockingly enough, no.
Oh, okay.
She met him in when she was, like, guarding a prison, and he was in the war camp and stuff like that. And all this sort of stuff. And there's, like, the government send mercenaries after them and stuff like that. So, like, branches off about the mercenaries and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting read, and I think it's something that somebody should read. In, like, animation news, Bob's Burgers, which is something that I don't think you've ever watched.
I have not.
You have not?
I understand it is about a guy who runs a burger shop.
It is a guy who runs a burger shop. That's been renewed for 2 more seasons, and it's, like, currently in, like, the 5th or 6th, so that's pretty interesting.
It's a lot of burgers.
It is a lot of burgers. Anyway, it's voiced, the main guy is voiced by the same guy in Archer.
Ah.
The guy who voices Archer is Bob.
I see.
So.
He was in, what was that show? Wet Hot American Summer on Netflix.
Is he in the show? He was definitely he was in the movie back in the day. He was the can of beans.
No, he was a man, and then radioactive goo turned him into a can of beans.
Of course. I haven't seen the show.
It's kind of funny.
I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah.
And Rick and Morty has been renewed for a 3rd season.
I've seen a bit of that show.
You have seen a bit of that. I quite enjoy it. Not an episode that I don't like of that show.
That's a big call.
It is a big call. Currently, there's like some that aren't as good as the rest, but you know, a lot of them are pretty good. In like actual anime news, there's a new Mobile Gundam series.
Actual anime. You're saying that Rick and Morty is like try-hard anime.
It's animation, but it's not anime.
Yeah. But saying actual anime implies that anime is superior.
Well, I'm not saying it's superior. There's more of it.
This is a new segment.
What Alan's
anime better than Western animation?
Not necessarily.
Case studies.
A new Mobile Gundam series is just started coming out, so that's pretty good. It's called Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blood Orphans. So it's really tugging at the old heartstrings there. Only 1 episode has been released as of this recording, so I've watched that. They're on Mars. Seems pretty interesting.
They have Gundam?
There's currently, I've seen 2 Gundam.
Is that the plural?
I think it's 1 Gundam, many Gundam, yes. I don't think there's Gundams. So many Gundams around here. Knee deep in Gundams.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe that's it. I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know how they pronounce it. Have I got you on like a grammatical
I'm
tangent
pondering.
here? You're pondering? Yeah?
Yeah.
And this is something that I said to my girlfriend, and she called me a dork and laughed at me really hard when I said it. My favorite manga is being turned into an anime.
Right.
Which is One Punch Man. Which I think
You dork.
you dork, yeah. Which I've mentioned to you in the past. You probably don't remember.
No.
But I mentioned it to you in the past.
Is this... No, that's already an anime.
What?
It says it Hajime no Ippo.
No, that's a boxing
Yeah.
anime.
Is One
yes.
Punch Man not a boxer?
No, he's not a boxer. It is a comedy...
Is he a guy who gets drunk and kills somebody by accident at a pub?
It's about a king hit.
Yeah.
It's like
One
all the
Punch Man.
horrific ramifications
Yeah,
after
it's
he
like
kills someone.
About his court case, and there's all these family members weeping.
It's like, why? Why did you do it? What did he do to you? Oh, he called me wanker.
Yeah.
He asked for it. He punched me first. Doesn't matter. No, it is a comedy superhero show about a guy who is so strong that he wins every fight he's in with one punch. Like, one punch takes out everybody. Yeah, started out as like a web manga from like Japan. This guy just started drawing it, and the artwork was awful,
Right.
just horrible. But the plot was really good and really funny, and so a official manga artist started redoing it, and it became
Just like stole this guy's work?
no, it was with permission, to my
okay.
knowledge. It's pretty good. Yeah, the new artwork was really good. And so from there, it got picked up, and now it's being made into an anime. And it's really funny, and it's sort of like over-the-top action and all that sort of stuff. And the guy who did Cowboy Bebop is, like, tied to it. So,
Watanabe something.
I don't know. This is one of the things many people are going to realize, which is that I am terrible with names. And I am awful at that. So if we ever talk about celebrities, I'm not going to know who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. Like George A. Romero.
Yes. Who I thought was Guillermo del Toro
Yeah.
for some reason.
That name's supposed to have a G. They're basically the same guy.
Yeah, and it's got like lots of really cool ancillary characters and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. So you wanted to talk about some movie stuff?
Ah, yes. Well, one of my favourite movies ever is Pacific Rim.
Both of our favourite movies. We both really enjoyed it.
Well, I didn't want to speak for you.
Well, feel free.
Okay. Alan's favourite movie is Bring It On 2.
Well, yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
The truth hurts.
Anyway, the Pacific Rim sequel, which I do not really want to see.
Which surprised me, actually, when you told me that, because I thought you'd be all for it. Like, more of the same. Thank you, please.
Yeah, but
Can't get enough.
Tied it all up in a nice, neat bow at the end.
That's true. Were they going to, like, open another fissure to another dimension? Oh, they're back again!
Yeah.
Or maybe we take the fight to them. Maybe.
Maybe. But I don't want to see that.
Okay, you think we're good, we're done,
Yeah.
And
it was so good, like a sequel could only...
detract from it?
If it was to improve on the original, I would be shocked.
There's not a lot of sequels that are better than the original. There's a few out there. Not a huge amount.
No.
Spider-Man 2, I think, classifies as a sequel that's better than the original.
Ah, they were all shit.
Okay. Not the new ones, like the old ones. The old one with...
We said the old ones. The
Tobey
old ones came
Maguire.
out like 10 years ago.
Okay, whatever. Classically, The Godfather 2 is considered better than The Godfather.
Is it?
I've not seen either of them.
Wow.
I'm just going off like movie
Perhaps that will
history
be
here.
your first review.
Maybe.
Anyway, yes, my news, that sequel is still up in the air, but Guillermo del Toro, the director and creator, suggested that he would like to have Maisie Williams of Game of Thrones fame.
Okay, I'm really glad we talked about this beforehand, because when you told me that before we started recording, I had no idea who that was.
Yeah, but you don't watch Game of Thrones.
Well, I've watched Game of Thrones. I'm just... Like,
Listeners,
again...
Alan does not watch Game of Thrones.
Again,
He hates Game of Thrones.
Again, I'm not good with names. So... But you pointed her out to me, you showed me a picture, and now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So this is good. I know who she is.
Anyway, yes.
What is she going to be? Like...
I'm about
Another
to tell you.
another flashback. No, I'm guessing. This is me guessing what she's going to be. Like, there was a little girl in the first Pacific Rim who was, like, one of the Jaeger pilots in the flashback as a little kid.
Yeah.
So, my guess is that that's what she's going to be. She's going to be a flashback.
No, she's like a grown woman these days.
She's like, well, you showed me a picture. She looks like she's 12.
No, she's like 16 or 17.
Well, it doesn't matter. She still looks like she's 12. She's very youthful, is what I'm saying.
I assume they picked her because Game of Thrones is going to take a certain amount of time to film.
Yeah, but if you throw her into like a Jaeger right now, it'd look horribly out of place. She'd be tiny in it.
I mean, a Jaeger is a set that has been built somewhere in Hollywood.
Well, yeah, but who are they
going
to put
customize it?
Who are they going to put her with?
Well, like, I don't know.
Someone tiny.
Yeah.
Like a midget, just so by comparison, looks enormous. Anyway, okay, well, that's... So, what, she's going to be like a Jaeger pilot? Is that what you're telling me?
This is the rumour.
The rumour? Is that she's going to be like a Jaeger pilot?
Yes.
Alright. I really hope that, like, the Jaeger she pilots is pink. That's what I hope. You can have a pink
chick.
I'm sure she is. But...
You haven't seen the show. She's like stabbing guys and everything.
Well, yeah, but
she doesn't like all that fluffy
wait,
stuff.
you're saying she can't be a girly girl if she wants to be outside of the show?
I mean, she could be.
She could be.
She wouldn't paint her Jaeger pink.
Well, maybe it's not her call.
maybe
it's like a publicity stunt.
The American military insists.
It'll be good for PR.
Yeah.
Paint it pink. The bit of news that I've got for movies is that Mad Max has been confirmed for at least 2 sequels.
See, now this could be good, because Mad Max Fury Road is another of my favourite movies.
Yes.
So, a sequel would fit nicely into that.
That's true. And I suppose even in the old Mad Max movies, there wasn't really a lot of connection between them.
No.
He was the only guy who sort of crossed over between movies. Yeah. Mad Max.
And even then...
It was a very loose tie.
Yeah. The character's not that strongly defined.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, who is he? Oh, he's the guy. What does he do?
Guy who drives around.
Yeah, drives around, punches stuff.
Yeah.
Shoots people with a shotgun. The end. Yeah. But I don't know. Usually when they do like a really good movie and then they decide to do more movies after that, they tend to go down in like quality. Generally,
that is the trend.
So I don't know how we're going to handle that.
The 2 sequels that greenlit at once also is a bit...
Well, that's just them capitalizing on the franchise.
Yeah, but what if the next one's no good? Then you got a third one that nobody really wants.
Mm. So that's about all I've got. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Nope. That's a real big lead-in to nope.
Yep.
All right, so I think why don't we move on to forced reviews, which I'm really looking forward to.
If we have to.
And I don't think you're looking forward to at all, but I'm really looking forward to it.
I don't know why you're looking forward to it.
I know why I'm looking forward to it, because it's going to be amazing. All right, let's move on. Okay, so it's time for my favourite segment, currently, because this is the first time we're doing it.
And it's currently our only segment.
Currently our only segment so far.
The first and last time we ever do a forced review.
No, oh God, you took it away from me. Yeah, it's called Forced Review, and it's my baby.
We can re-record.
No, that's fine. This is my baby, and I made this segment out of thin air. It's all me, 100%.
I feel that the thought of my suffering kind of motivated you, inspired you.
It didn't hurt the theory. Anyway, forced review. We take turns, week about, to force the other person to review something that they might not have been exposed to, be it like games or movies or anime or maybe a comic book, any sort of pop culture sort of thing that we think the other person might not have seen or heard before. And that person has to consume that media and review it, regardless of whether they want to or not. And there are a couple of rules to it. It has to be something that can be consumed in a week, because that's the time between segments.
Within reason.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's 168 hours in a week.
No. Something that can be something that can be easily consumed within a week.
Yeah.
It has to be something that you haven't already seen. It does not have to be good. And it has to be within reason. So I can't make you watch something that I know will like make you nauseous, or like some sort of gory, horrible movie, because I know that's not like your favorite thing to watch.
Oh, I don't mind gore.
Well, whatever. I'm saying that is like if
medical stuff.
Yeah, just go watch some medical shows.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something that you're willing and able to review.
Yeah.
We'll
Not
probably
necessarily willing.
not necessarily well, but able. We'll probably try to stitch each other up as we go, but there'll also be some good stuff as well, like stuff that should be consumed, as opposed to the thing I gave you to review, which is fresh in your mind because you watched it right before we started recording this.
Shall I tell you all about it?
I'll do the intro. I'll like give an explanation as to what it is because I got some facts.
You got some facts.
I got some facts.
I got some facts. This movie is boring as hell.
I'm so happy I made this segment. It's great. It's my brainchild. It is a movie that I watched because I was very bored one day called Detention of the Dead, which is a zombie movie, shockingly enough. It was made in 2012 and it has a 4.5 on IMDb, which I think is very
generous.
Very generous. The writer and director is a guy called Alex Craig Mann, and he was in... What was he in again?
He was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
As an actor,
yes. Do you know what the tagline for this is? I looked up the tagline for this movie.
For Detention of the Dead?
Detention of the Dead, yeah. Do you want to know what it is?
No, I don't know what it is.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will go to detention, is the tagline for this movie. So I think now we should pass this over to Russell, who had to watch this movie, whether he wanted to or not, and now he has to review it.
Okay.
Go on, I'll be quiet. I'll only contribute thoughtful and insightful points and quips.
Okay, so Detention of the Dead is a film, technically.
I believe it does fall into that category.
The very bare setup is that a group of 20-something high schoolers trapped at their school as everyone else joins the ranks of the living dead. The cause of the plague is not explained. Very little in this movie is explained.
Now, that's not necessarily that bad of a thing, because there's a lot of zombie movies where the cause of the virus or the curse or whatever that causes zombies is not explained.
That's true.
Okay. Classically, like a comedy one, Shaun of the Dead. They never explain what caused the zombie stuff in that.
No. If you were considering watching Detention of the Dead, instead you should watch Shaun of the Dead.
I feel like that's probably as good as that bottom lining your entire review.
Yeah, that's the too long didn't listen of this review. It's hard to know where to start with this movie because it is just...
It's very disjointed and cliched. Yeah.
It's totally all over the place. I think it's meant to be a comedy, but there are no jokes. A guy does fart in another guy's face.
That's
at
true.
One point.
Yep. In an air duct. Yep.
Zombie chicks rim a dude at one point.
What? I don't remember that. What happens? They give him like a rim job or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. At one point, a zombie arm does grab hold of a guy's crotch.
Yeah.
At which point, another guy straddles that arm.
Yeah. And
they sort of dance around trying to take it off.
Yeah.
His junk.
And it plays music and...
Yeah, that's about the height of comedy.
It goes on for like
way too long.
Minute at least.
It goes way too long.
Yeah. And it's meant to be like, they're having gay sex.
They're having gay sex. Yeah, that's the implication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of the actors in this are anybody of note.
Except for the Asian dude. The Asian dude, like I mentioned, was in Twilight. As an actual speaking role. The stoner, blonde Asian guy was in Twilight.
I haven't seen Twilight.
I haven't seen it either. This is me looking up the movie
Nobody
on IMDb.
Nobody believes that. All of the dialogue is extremely cliched and interminably long.
It's a bit long-winded, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to go a little bit of the Buffy vibe in regards to that. Like long, sort of back and forth comedy speeches. But I don't think they really pull it off.
No. I can't even recount the events that happen because nothing really happens.
Nothing of note. It's just them running around.
They get out of detention and zombies attack.
Right.
And they go to the library and barricade themselves because nobody goes to the library because it's uncool. Ha 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 ha. And then they talk to each other. And all of these characters are horrible caricatures.
Of, like, stereotypes?
Yeah, there's, like, a jock guy and a nerd guy and a goth chick.
And a
cheerleader.
And a stoner
And a
Asian
stoner
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
And you just hope that they will all be killed, or at least I did.
My favourite fact of the casting of this movie is the nerd guy. Not because he's
30 years old.
Not because he's 30 years old. Not because he's a particularly good actor. But because he's enormous. The guy's like 6'4" and built almost better than the jock character is.
Yeah.
Like, he comes in with like big thick glasses on and like a sweater vest and stuff, like cardigan and a tie. And he's just straining the buttons on all of that clothing.
And he says to the cheerleader girl, "Oh, am I not good looking enough for you to date?" And he is clearly a handsome man.
He's very handsome. And she goes like, "Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's it. You're not handsome enough.
You're an uggo. Get out of my face."
And the guy is horrendously attractive.
Horrendously attractive.
He's so attractive, it's horrendous.
I see.
He's a very attractive man.
Yeah. There was the only redeeming feature, apart from the proffered hope of the eventual death of everybody in the movie.
I did look at like the notes you took of it earlier, and you had like a good points column and a bad points column. And there's like 2 things in the good points column and like 8 things in the bad points column.
One of them got crossed out. I did initially have the lighting sometimes is good, but as the movie went on, that faded.
It just always looked very, like, how to put it, when I watched it, it was very soap opera.
It was very
soap opera lighting. Yeah. Everything's like perfectly bright.
Yeah.
Or pitch black when you're looking at the zombies.
Yeah. But the one redeeming feature is one line from the script where everything is starting to go bad. Somebody tells the cheerleader girl to lighten up, and she replies, "This is no time to lighten up. If anything, we should all be getting heavier." Which gave me a chuckle.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And she's like such a typical blonde bimbo as well. And the goth chick is like, oh, she's not as attractive, but she's like really smart and practical.
Yeah,
and
she's got a heart of gold.
Heart of gold. And of course the nerd and the goth end up hooking up at the end of the movie.
Well, eventually, after he hooks up with the cheerleader.
Yeah, he does have a chance with the cheerleader. Doesn't do much with her though. Yeah, when she was like, "I don't want to die a virgin," he was like, "Oh gosh, I don't know what I should do about this. I've never touched a woman before."
Nah.
And it's a 6'4" Adonis of a man.
30-year-old. Yeah.
Anyway, so come on, you got to give like a rating for this. Like let's say out of 10. Come on, what do you got?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. I feel like that's a reasonable sort of ratio.
What's the lowest rating?
The lowest is 1.
Okay.
What is like your rating out of 10?
I'm gonna go with 2.
You're gonna go with 2
because of the potential for a future movie to be worse than this one.
Okay, you gotta leave somewhere to go. You can't just start out at 0. Yeah. You gotta like, you can't
start at 1.
Can't start at 1. You got plenty of space to go up now.
Yeah,
but you also have some like if it was just like a random series of disjointed images.
Yeah,
disjointed images and just like random white piercing noise that you can go down.
It's like in PC Power Play magazine.
Okay, yeah.
Which was a video game magazine. Mm-hmm. It probably still is.
Possibly.
But I read it when I was a youngin'. And there was a game called How's That Cricket?
Of course. Of course there is.
I didn't play it, but it was reportedly incredibly bad. It was the worst game they had ever reviewed. And they had a 100-point scoring system. And How's That Cricket?
Pretty standard.
2.
Got 2?
Yeah.
What was their like reasons for... It functions. You can plug it in, turn it on.
Well, I think it was also very buggy, so it didn't even tick that box. But I think they just left themselves...
Somewhere to go? Alright, so you're giving Detention of the Dead...
Detention of the Dead scores 2 out of 10.
2 zombie brains out of 10.
Yeah.
Zombie brains.
Yeah.
Okay. And now the fun fact is, I made you watch that, subject yourself to it, and laughed at you mercilessly for about 2 days... leading up to you having to watch it as you put it off. So now you get to turn around. You can either stitch me up and give me something horrible to review, or you can be the bigger man and give me something good to watch that I haven't seen before.
Well, in the interests of hoping for reciprocation in future,
Okay.
I will be nice to you, and I will force you to watch and review a movie I recently watched and enjoyed. Turbo Kid.
Turbo Kid. Alright, do you want to give any info about what Turbo Kid is? Or... So I haven't seen it, so it fits the category.
It's a post-apocalyptic 80s nostalgia fest.
You've already sold me. I'm already 100% in.
Michael Ironside as the character actor, Michael Ironside as the main villain.
Okay. That's going to be great once I know who that is. I don't know who Michael Ironside is.
You are bad at names. In Total Recall.
Okay.
You know Richter? See you at the party, Richter!
Oh, yeah, okay.
The guy who falls down the elevator.
Okay.
That's Michael Ironside.
Okay.
Yeah. He's also in Starship Troopers.
Oh, is he the
He's the
lecturer?
Teacher, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I know.
And then he becomes the army commander.
For no apparent reason.
Oh, except he's hard as shit.
Yeah, but he doesn't start out like that in Starship Troopers. He's just some guy who teaches. He's the edgy teacher.
Yeah.
And then he's 6 months later, he's a major general in the space army.
Yeah.
Space Marines.
He also voiced Sam Fisher in most of the Splinter Cell series of games.
There you go.
Until the most recent one, which I boycotted because Michael Ironside got cut.
There's no Michael Ironside in here. It's
No.
not hard enough for me.
No.
Alright. That was Forced Reviews.
Boo-doo-boo-boo-doo-boo.
Mwah. So I think that's about all we have time for this week. If you'd like, you can go to our website for the recap of the show. We'll have links to everything that we talked about on there, on our blog post there. And it is popculturepontification.weebly.com.
Do you want to spell that for the listeners, Alan?
Not particularly.
Look it up in the dictionary.
Pop culture is easy enough. Pontification is Pontification. Super easy to spell and remember.
Yeah. A winning title for sure.
A winning title for sure. We may change that in the future.
You can follow us on Twitter at PopCulturePon. You can like us on Facebook at PopCulturePon.
And I think we both look forward to seeing you all next week for another round of Pop Culture Pontification. So come on back next week for another fascinating round of Pop Culture Pontification. I can't think of any other ways to say that. So
if all of your other podcasts have gone on hiatus, if you've already been through the My Brother and Me backlog,
if every other server that hosts every other podcast and every other person who makes podcasts dies in the next week, feel free to join us for another session of Pop Culture Pontification.
If you're an insomniac and nothing else can help.
If you enjoy torturing yourself.
You already did the torturing
You already
yourself.
did that. But if you're so into it, you want to do it again, come back and listen next week. If somebody is holding a gun to your head and forcing you to choose a podcast and you can't think of anything else because you're terrified. If somebody has challenged you to find a podcast that is very new and might not be very good, feel free to recommend Pop Culture Pontification. If you
are a member of our friends or
friend
family,
circle,
then you may feel obliged to download the next episode of Pop Culture Pontification.
We will be asking every one of you individually, face to face, whether you have decided to download and listen to this.
Well, Alan might. I am never going out in public again.